Hello, welcome back. I'm glad you've joined me on this really interesting ride, isn't it? Spiritual practice, real interesting ride where everything comes up. Everything. And we invite it to come up. Yes. All of the drama, all of our stuff for forgiveness and release, so that we may awaken. So let's have another discussion about awakening, enlightenment, the end of all suffering, which never happened to begin with. What else? What else would we talk about? And along the way, we're talking about the idea of healing, and we'll talk about healing and sickness today. And the title of our conversation is Rest Comes from Waking. So we'll talk about waking and sleeping as well. So all sickness, all of it, in whatever form it may take, all of it is an expression of the fear of awakening. That's what it is. Here in the world, we may say it comes across as a virus or a bacterial infection, or maybe it's an injury or something like that. But it's all an expression of the fear of awakening. How completely unflattering, isn't it? Happily, we're not here to flatter the ego. We've done that enough, and that's why we're suffering. Because we've given it all of the power that it has for us. We've given it all the power that it has of itself. Guess what it is? It's nothing. There is no separation of any kind. The ego does not exist. It's nothing. And we could withdraw our belief in it at any time. So that's what we're all invited to do. Really. This can be done right now. When else, in fact? The future does not exist. It's not here. Neither is the past. And it's very easy to grasp that with the intellectual, so-called rational thinking mind. Yeah, the past is gone. The future's not here. Yeah, so what? That's what we think to ourselves. Yet we live as though that were not the case. We spend almost all our time engaged in thoughts of either the future or the past. We fret about what we imagine may come tomorrow, or we dwell on what happened yesterday and what we woulda, coulda, shoulda done in whatever situation we found ourselves in. We live almost anywhere except the present moment. Why? Fear of awakening, fear of realizing who we are. Now, you may protest, well, I'm not afraid of awakening. Okay, well, then prove that to yourself. Prove that to yourself by paying attention to everything that comes across your experience that does not produce total joy. Anything that is uncomfortable in any way, no matter how slight, according to this scale that we've all made up, where some things appear to be of a higher degree than others. There are no degrees. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. This opening statement of chapter 1 of the text, there is no order of difficulty in miracles, expresses this principle that all hierarchies, all classifications and subclassifications and categorizations and subcategorizations, all of that, all of the slices that we've mentally made are a complete illusion. There is only perfect oneness. There aren't orders of difficulty in anything because there's only perfect oneness. What's going on is, yes, it's completely unflattering for us to hear that we're afraid of awakening because we profess to want it. So let's prove to ourselves that we do by receiving God's love and giving as we've received. We extend it. Forgive the Son of God. Anything that crosses your path that is not wholly joyous is an opportunity for you to truly forgive. So let's do this. Take advantage of these moments. It's a gift. Anything painful is an opportunity for forgiveness and release. So the more of these that we notice, the more we clear the veil, the more we lift it. And the reality is we continue to stick with our false sense of individuality. In other words, the ego, because we're afraid of awakening. We're afraid that it would destroy us. Quite the opposite. By the way, in case you're just joining for the first time, if you are, welcome. This thing is not me. The physical body is not you. We're not bodies. All appearances here in the world to the contrary, of course. It looks like there are 8 billion of us running around. That's totally meaningless. There is only perfect oneness. So how then do we realize this? Well, that's what we call spiritual practice and experience, the path, in other words. How we realize this is we truly forgive the Son of God, and we give our entire experience over to our inner teacher, who shows us what to do in every circumstance. This is setting the ego aside. It's saying, the way I've tried to orchestrate and manipulate all of this has not worked out. In fact, it has been an abject cluster, and I'm done with it. Take the reins. There's the popular saying, Jesus, take the wheel. Yeah, drive the car, because I keep wrecking it. I have to laugh because that is such a popular expression, Jesus, take the wheel. It's even on bumper stickers and things like that on cars that people wreck, of course. And you think about it. Think about it. That's a great way. It's a great teaching. It is. It's a great way to set the ego aside. Because we're saying of myself, little s, individuality, I can do nothing. Nothing I've tried to do has produced lasting happiness because none of it is the peace of God. And really, when I honestly, adult style, admit it, I'm afraid of awakening. So help me forgive the Son of God. Help me receive. I receive the gifts of God and I extend them. I give them away. I learn to give as I receive. Ask your inner teacher for guidance and assistance. He knows what to do. Our inner teacher's role is to separate the false from the true, so that we may distinguish between the two, because we're running around dazed and confused. And while we're identifying as an individual human being, a self-sustaining survival unit, an economic competition unit, a consumer, feed me, all of that, right? That we're confused. And yes, part of spiritual practice is accepting that. It's an admission. It's an adult admission that my way's not working. Take the wheel. So we invite our inner teacher to do just that. And we relax and trust. All of spirituality is about this, learning to relax and trust. Ah, yes. Deep breath. Rinse, repeat. Learn to relax and trust. So, here in chapter 8, section 9 of the text that we're working our way through here, Jesus has some very interesting things to say about the term rest in peace, RIP, which we put on people's headstones, which memorialize where a body once sat, because it is just sitting in there and then it's going to decompose. The Son of God doesn't decompose, by the way. The Son of God is not going to be eaten by worms. The Son of God's not finite. You're not a body. So we have all of these headstones in cemeteries and graveyards, including those of our family members and people that we love, right? RIP, rest in peace, rest in peace. Well, it's actually a blessing for the living, not the dead. It's a blessing for the living. The reason for this is that rest comes from waking, not sleeping. Rest comes from awakening in God. It comes from what we call realizing God, awakening, enlightenment. Call that whatever you will. It comes from waking up. Rest comes from waking, not from sleeping. And this world, this body, everything that this world appears to contain is, in fact, a dream, which means that we're sleeping. And the process of spiritual practice, whatever that may look like for you, is our process of waking up. We're awakening. And you are awakening because you're watching this. Yeah, don't kid yourself. You've heard the call of our inner teacher to awaken, and you've answered it. So for that, we all thank you. Huge. This is huge because you can never go back. You've heard the call. That's why you're interested in spirituality. Because, I mean, there's so much other content out there on social media, even right here on YouTube, let alone all of the other channels that there are, and there are more every day competing for our attention. In fact, there are more phenomena cropping up every day to divert our attention away from forgiving the Son of God. And we're afraid of awakening. So we spend all of our time on our cell phones, our devices. Now, if you're watching this on your cell phone, keep watching. Thank you for watching. Yes. And yeah, appreciate that. But you see where we're going with this. We spend all of our time on these devices or doing something, engaged in some form of mental activity, so we don't experience the present moment. It's fear of awakening. Got to stay busy. Truth might dawn. So we all have an adult moment where we recognize that we claim to want the peace of God, and only that, then we go forth and act in a way that blocks our experience of that. And if you're confused, ask your inner teacher for help. So this is a dream. By the way, A Course in Miracles is not the only spiritual tradition in this world that posits that this world of compound phenomena, a spinning ball of rock we call Earth, we call our mother, our home, whatever we call it, is a dream. This is not the only spiritual tradition to posit this. So, something that I have learned through the study and practice of Tibetan Buddhism, which I studied and practiced for several years in this lifetime, it's very helpful. And it's very helpful for a course student as well to say to yourself as you look around or gaze on something here in the world, this is a dream. One of my teachers, Lama Michael Conklin, used to invite us to say this to ourselves when we remember to do it. This is a dream. How completely and beautifully helpful this is. This is a dream. 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 It's a dream. You're not a body. We're in the process of awakening. And it's more than okay that up to this point you've been afraid of awakening, and perhaps you still are. The past is gone. This is where the truth that the past does not exist is really handy, isn't it? Because we all have the present moment capability right now to decide for God, to decide for love instead of fear, to awaken instead of remain asleep. We could wake up right now. It's ours for choosing. So let's choose it. So, as we wrap up, it's really, really important that we reiterate as many times as necessary that this whole thing that we call a journey, a path, a walk, a marathon, a sprint, I don't know, whatever it may feel like for you. Spiritual practice is about our relationship with our inner teacher, the part of our mind that speaks truly, that teaches us to perceive truly, so that truth may dawn of itself. With all of our myriad distractions, all of the drama that we engage in life, we're simply allowing ourselves to be distracted. We don't have to be. We can return our awareness to the idea of receiving the love of God, the gifts of God, and then giving as we've received, which is how we keep it in our mind. This is how we recognize and prove to ourselves that every single thing said here in the Course is in fact true. We do it. It's our present moment practical application that matters. And it doesn't matter whether you fully have what you consider to be an intellectual grasp on this material. Many people say that they find A Course in Miracles confusing. And indeed, this is perhaps the top stumbling block to all students of the Course, is this pressing need to come to grips with and comprehend everything with what we deem to be rational, haha, not rational, the thinking mind. The intellectual so-called rational thinking mind that attempts to parse everything into categories and categorize and subcategorize. This material can't be understood in that way because that method of thinking about it doesn't work. This course points to our perfect oneness, which is not experienced through categorization and subcategorization. It's not experienced through separating ourselves into 8 billion human beings, which is a term that we made up. It's not parsing out our experience into calendar fragments, into appointments, or anything like that. It's attained through our forgiveness of the Son of God and our openness to receive what we've already been given. We allow truth to be just as it is, and we share our inner teacher with our brother. We extend love. So along the way, it certainly appears that we have a light bill to pay. Actually, mine's due in 4 days. So what am I going to do about this? I'm going to pay it. So we continue to experience life. It looks like we're human beings running around, but we don't have to accord this the reality that we do. Yeah, we function in the world and show up, and yes, go to work. If you're scheduled to work today, go to work today. Pay the bills, eat, sleep, stuff like that. We appear to be here having a normal life, but we don't have to make it real because it's not. It's a dream. It is 100% possible to fully function in this world and still reach the Son of God. Look what's going on right now. This is something that we're all called to do. Now, for many of us, in fact, for most of us, it's not going to be turning on a camera and microphone and broadcasting on YouTube to what is a worldwide audience. That's not what it looks like for all of us. How you do it is completely dependent on your relationship with your inner teacher. So ask for guidance. Why does it appear to look different? Well, because there are people out there that will relate best to you, not to me, but to you. This message may not get through to some people, but something coming from you, the expression of the love of God, the sharing of the gifts of God coming through you, are going to positively impact people that you may not even know yet. You may not even be aware of it, and you may never actually physically meet them in this lifetime. You don't know. I don't know. So I broadcast. I don't know who may be watching. And we never really truly know how positively we're going to impact someone's life. So we show up and share the Holy Spirit with them in whatever outward form that appears to take. That's between you and your inner teacher. So this relationship between you and your inner teacher is critical. And let's stress again, inner. There's a reason why I'm referring to the Holy Spirit as your inner teacher. The Holy Spirit is not outside of you. It is not some great mystery either. Rather, it's this part of our mind that speaks truly, that knows who you are, and will show you what to do right now in the present moment to awaken, if only you let him. That's it. Rest comes from waking. So, to the extent that you're tired in this world, overwhelmed, stressed, totally get that. Yeah, I get that. We all do, because we can all relate. This world is exhausting. Want rest? Awaken in God. Because it's an awakening. You want to know why? We've never left. We've never left. So let us simply awaken to this being, to reality. Rest comes from waking. All right. So thank you, as always, for joining us. If you're new to this course, you may have a lot of questions, which is perfectly natural. And if you've been experiencing this material and studying it for 30 years, you may have equally as many questions, which also is perfectly natural. This series of videos is designed for everybody, for all experience levels, and it's also designed for those of you who are just checking this course out, wondering what this Course in Miracles thing is actually all about. Well, awakening. What else? Yeah, the real deal. That's what it's about. So if this is something that you're checking out and you're curious about it, these videos are for you too. So, where I'm going with all of this is comments and questions are most welcome here. They're more than welcome. And we've had some very interesting conversations and dialogue and some great questions asked along the way. After all, what is this thing that we call spiritual practice but self inquiry? It's what it is. So, inquiry presumes that they're going to be questions. If you've got them, please ask them. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love to have you. Here's the subscription button. It's that arrow in the corner of your screen. So I would invite you to just go ahead, click that, and join us. We're here several times a week as we're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, as we're forgiving the Son of God, as we're forgiving the Son of God again, as we're forgiving the Son of God and the world and space and time and everything that crosses our experience that is not wholly and completely joyous, because complete joy, total joy, unbridled and unlimited joy is who we are. So let's awaken to this, shall we? Yes, let's do. Thank you for joining me.